Hey guys, Coach Laird here. I got a hitting tip of the day today, and I'm going to be very fiery and very passionate about this because I don't know how many more times I have to say this because it's mind-boggling to me how many times I have to go over the same things over and over and over and over. And there's so many more people than just me going out there and explaining these things to people. So the hitting tip of the day is the importance of listening to one coach or one instructor when changing hitting mechanics. And I'm going to start and preface this with, you can't start an instruction or start with a hitting coach in the middle of season and expect to have the same results as somebody that worked an entire off season, week in and week out, consistency, day in and day out, and working on the drills and working on the problems and the flaws of the swing, and have the same results as that kid within a month or two. It's not going to happen. Can you make gains? Yes. Do I advise you starting in season? No, I advise you starting in the off season and being consistent through that. The majority of our clients are year-round with lessons or a minimum of 9 to 10 months, working consistently throughout the year. It was brought to my attention today of somebody, and I'm not going to mention any names, I'll keep this to myself, of saying that they were in the middle of fall ball and they struggled and they immediately blamed the hitting instructor. And it blows my mind. And that person started with that guy in the middle of fall ball and immediately started trying to implement changes, obviously, and struggled for a little bit. So I'm going to break this down. Somebody starts with a hitting instructor. They're working on changing things. They're getting better. They're fixing flaws, okay? This kid is in a chaotic environment, a.k.a. a game, and he's working on things, right? But he's stressed out. His anxiety is going through the roof because he's trying to hit the ball well. He's trying to perform. He's trying to do well. On a new team, on a high-level team, trying to do better. Wasn't on a high-level team the year before. Is on a high-level this team in the fall and performing against high-level players. When that kid is stressed out, starts freaking out, and wants to just make contact and do well, is that kid going to rely on what he's being taught brand new at his age of 15, 16 years old or whatever, or is he going to rely on what he knows, what he's comfortable with, and what he's done in the past, what he's done his whole life? And the answer is he's going to rely on what he's done his whole life, period. Making adjustments in season for hitting is the hardest thing to do in sports. It's the hardest thing to do. Making changes as a hitter, mechanical changes, mindset changes, a lot of things. You have to be smart and you have to make small adjustments in season when you're working with a new instructor or working with a coach. Now, back to the topic at hand, the importance of listening to one guy. Now, I don't know, again, how many times I have to say that first part, I've said that a million times. When you're working on new things, you work in the offseason, you develop it, you continue it through the season, you're working on these flaws, you're building and making yourself better. Now let's get to high school baseball coaches. I have a ton of friends that are high school baseball coaches, a ton of guys that I respect. But there's a lot of guys that think that they played college baseball or played at a certain level and they know everything that they're talking about. And the problem is that if everybody was the best in the game, every high school baseball coach who thinks they're the best and knows what the hell they're talking about hitting, their teams would be tearing it up and breaking records hitting all the time every single year. I can speak from my perspective as a coach at Laird's Training. We constantly have college baseball players come out. We constantly have power hitters. Guys improve dramatically. The results speak for themselves. When that happens and I have a high school coach that's conflicting with what I'm saying, like we had a kid I said this on the podcast, we had a kid a couple months ago who was doing one of my drills, and one of the young coaches at the high school was like, hey, I don't like this drill. And I asked the kid to ask him why, because the kid didn't ask him why because he was scared about basically the repercussion of what the coach was going to say. And the coach never gave him a reason. The reason he didn't give him a reason was because he's a dumbass and had no idea why I didn't like it. He just was confused as to why the drill was going on, why he was doing that drill, and never gave him a reason why to stop doing that drill. And sorry to speak harshly, but it is what it is. Like a good coach is going to go, hey, why are you doing this drill? What is this helping? What is the objective of this drill? What's the context behind the drill? What is your flaw that this drill is fixing? I just laid out 4 or 5 questions right there that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can ask to figure out what the problem is. Did that offend me? No, because everybody's going to have different philosophies, and I'm not attacking different philosophies. But at the same time, when a kid is trying to get better and working on different things, if he's got a hitting instructor or he's working with a certain hitting guy, your job as a coach is to build upon what he's working on. Build upon certain things. Not change shit around and mess things up and completely go against it. I had a kid years ago whose dad, great guy, but he never really played baseball at a high level. And I was explaining to him that his son was early. And he didn't understand that. And he kept saying that his son was late. He's late. And even his high school, or not high school, his summer travel ball coach was saying that he's super, super late. And I go, listen, you're telling him to get his foot down an hour earlier than he needs to. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. He's way the hell out front. You're telling him to get his foot down. His hands are dropping because we can't freeze time and space. He's starting to swing too early. He's way out front. So, okay, I show slow motion of the video. I show it to the coach. I show it to the dad. The kid is swinging the ball, and the ball is 10 feet away from him. And his barrel's way out in front. I do this day in and day out. This is my job 24/7. Just as if somebody that's an accountant is doing that 24/7, somebody as a teacher doing that 24/7. I see flaws. I work with dozens and dozens and dozens of kids. I've worked with over hundreds and hundreds of kids, well over 1,000 kids over the years. I've seen so many flaws, so many different drills to fix those flaws, so many different types of personalities, so many different types of kids. Are there guys that are just as good as me at teaching hitting? Hell yeah, there are guys just as good as me. But when we have guys and coaches that are purposefully trying to change kids instead of actually diagnosing what the problem is and helping the kid with whether it's a confidence issue, like for instance that timing issue, or understanding what the kid's trying to do, what we want to do is we want to hit the ball hard, we want to be athletic, we want to be strong, fast. Like everybody wants to do that. And if I got a high school coach, like you don't get paid to hit ground balls. I heard today that there was a coach that is saying, hey, we're going to hit ground balls and line drives. The objective is not to hit ground balls, okay? The objective is to hit line drives. If you happen to get a hit with a ground ball, great. But we're not hitting fly balls, we're not hitting ground balls. We're hitting line drives to high line drives, in the gap, gap to gap. We're hitting for doubles. The guys that have power will hit for power. We're not trying to conflict and trying to change things up constantly and disregard what we're trying to do. I'll give you another example. I had a kid in the past, this has happened a couple of times. The dad's like, hey, can you work with my son? We want to do hitting instruction, but can you not change that much? And I go, dude, I don't know what the hell you think hitting instruction is, but part of instruction is teaching and changing things. Like, we're going to keep a strong, solid base, but if there's a flaw in the sequence in the swing, some flaw in the kinetic chain, we have to change things and adjust things. People who don't like change will never grow. People who are teaching the same way they are teaching 5 years ago, teaching the same thing, the same way they're teaching today, don't know what they're talking about. They're afraid of change. The only constant is change, period. If you don't adapt at the higher levels that you go, you're not going to have the same approach, the same mentality, the same success that you did at 12 years old, hitting against Jimmy down the street that's going to be bagging groceries one day versus a guy that's going to be throwing 95 miles an hour to 99 miles an hour, whatever, in the MLB. That same approach that you beat that guy that's throwing 80 poo in high school is not going to beat that guy in college. You have to learn to adapt. You have to learn you adapt or die. So this is a long rant, and this has gone into a lot of things, but basically, as a kid, as a hitter, you have to focus on one voice when you're making mechanical changes. Can you listen to multiple coaches when it comes to hitting, adjustments, and a mind approach? Hell yeah, you can listen to multiple coaches. But somebody that's constantly trying to change mechanics, and this kid's got, his instructor changes mechanics, his assistant coach at high school changes mechanics, his head coach at high school changing mechanics. If all these guys are changing mechanics, this kid's going to be like, I don't know what's going on. Because this is the thing that's messed up with baseball all the time is semantics. Like, I could say stay back, and it means something completely different than what another coach means. And here's the thing. There's a lot of coaches that don't even, like, I say stay back. They all think they know what that means. Staying back, I'm getting irritated here, but like, guys, when I say, hey, how do you hit a curveball? And every single dumbass coach will say, stay back. What the hell does that mean, stay back? What? The sky's blue too. This kid is asking how to hit the curveball. How many times are we fooled on curveballs? A lot, right? Most guys are sitting fastball just hitting a curveball. So if you're not training to hit a curveball when your bottom half is fooled and you're drifting forward, or maybe your balance is off, you're not training in a realistic environment. So saying staying back means you don't know what you're talking about. Like, everybody wants to stay back. In a perfect world, we see it out of the hand, boom, it's up, boom, we drive it. But we've got to learn how to hit with flaws. We got to learn how to hit with mistakes. We got to learn how to hit with adjustability. We got to learn how to hit when our balance gets off. We got to learn to hit and keep our torso back, keep our hands up. There's so many things that revolve around hitting and staying back. But again, I went off on a rant. I went off on a tangent. Hitting is simple. We barrel the ball up. We drive it gap to gap. We have the ability to hit the ball away. We have the ability to hit the ball inside. We have the ability to adjust to off-speed pitches. Okay? It is very simple to watch MLB guys in slow motion, see where they're at launch position, see the good 45-degree angle, the knob toward the catcher, good athletic position, holding a hinge, keeping the chest over the toes in that hinge position, strong and stable, good stable spine, direct to the ball. There's so many things about hitting that is like all you have to do is watch a video in slow motion and see things. But there's a lot of coaches that are too big and they won't watch the video. They don't understand these things either because they're too busy or they think they know it all. Bottom line, as a hitter and as a player that's trying to get to the next level, focus on one coach when making mechanical changes, but listen to everybody and understand approaches and pick up things from everyone. But if you're listening to a coach who's constantly changing your mechanics left and right over and over and over and over, that's completely different from your instructor, why the hell are you going to that instructor? Parents, don't ask an instructor not to change something if your kid's already Mike Trout, don't change a damn thing. But if your kid has flaws, the purpose is to get better and change things. You will not grow without change, period. You'll be the same person. And I don't know about you, but I'm a completely different person than I was when I was 12 years old against Jimmy down the street. Completely different. One mind, one coach, one approach. Make adjustments from pitcher to pitcher. Pick up everything from everybody, but stop changing shit every single day and stop conflicting philosophies with your hitting coach or high school coaches. Understand that the objective is to barrel the ball in the gap. Because I guarantee if you're barreling the ball in the gap, your high school coach will shut up and won't pay attention and won't worry about what you're being taught. Laird's Training, out.